I've been involved in equality, diversity, and inclusion for many years. My role involved supporting organizations in their equality strategies and implementation of equality strategies. So yeah, that's in some my area of work. Okay, when I was listening to Professor Archibald this morning, it kind of inspired me. How I kind of navigated consciously or unconsciously our my multiple identities. It just reminded me when I first started my job, my first job in this country, how daunting that was. Even though I put myself together, I gathered all the confidence that I thought I needed, but it was quite a bit scary. And not knowing exactly how I was going to be received, how I was going to be accepted, welcomed in the organization. And then, looking back, I wish there was someone, in the organization who was tasked to help me navigate, the alleyways of, within the organizations. But now, obviously, we talk, sometimes people talk about those people could be buddies or here and there, but now we're talking about allyship. When we think about allies, it's not something new. We tend to think about countries coming together to fight a war, or and things like that. But in as much as people come together to fight a war, we need that kind of coming together in the workplace to help someone obviously navigate or help you fight your battle in the workplace. So it's not, it's very important to recognize that having, creating diversity and inclusion in the workplace, it's not an easy thing, you know. It's something that requires a lot of commitment. It's something that requires a lot of, dedication and obviously courage. Yeah, because obviously it's important that organization recognize that uh, people their employees can face discrimination, can be treated unfairly because of their ethnicity, because of their gender, or because of their multiple identities, as Professor Ashburn alluded to this morning. But we also know that people from different backgrounds also can influence changes within in an organization, help ensure that those things don't happen to other people within the organization. So these people, obviously, we call them allies. They encourage change so that employees are given equal opportunities, treated fairly with dignity and respect, and their diversity valued, and obviously allowing the workplace to be inclusive. But what is an ally? So can we say an ally is someone who helps you fight your battles? Whether it's fighting the war, a war as people shooting each other, or the war within the workplace, these alleyways and indefinite alleyways that you kind of trying to navigate. How how easy would it be to find someone within an organization to help you navigate to the alleyways of the workplace? So an ally, there are many definitions flying around. So one of the most common is an ally is someone who is not a member of an underrepresented or disadvantaged group, but who takes action to support that group. My favorite definition is that an ally is any person that actively promotes and aspires to advance the culture of inclusion through intentional, positive, and conscious efforts that benefit people as a whole. And I think that's a very, very good definition to depart from. So everybody in an organization, everybody, or in a community, in a society, everybody has the ability to make change, to be an ally. A white woman can be an ally to a black woman. A black woman can be an ally to a white woman. Men can be allies to women, and vice versa. And the list go on. An economically privileged person can be allied to those who are not, and vice versa. You know, so it is very important. It is a business of everyone. It's not something that is specifically there for specific people, but it's the business of everyone. So why are we talking about this, idea of allyship? Why are we talking about it? There are many reasons, because people are facing discrimination. Women, for example, as we're talking about, the women event. So women, for example, face discrimination. We talk about it because it's make business sense. It's kind of, part of the, it kind of help improve organization productivity and profitability. So there are many, many reasons why we are talking about allyship. But obviously, I'm not going to go through those reasons. That will be for another presentation. Okay. And also because we need people to understand what it's like to be treated, to be discriminated because of your race or your gender or your sexual orientation, and even your economic status. So it is very important that we talk about these things so people understand what's, other people's experience, and obviously hoping that people will be involved and affect the positive change that's benefit all of us. So how to be an effective ally? I kind of put some, a list. I said 10 steps, but this is not an exhaustive list. The list can go on forever, but I just feel like these are the things that I feel like it's very important as a starting point for people to start when they want to become an effective ally. In the workplace, obviously, or we expect organization, or we expect colleagues to behave in a way that is respectful, that kind of respect everybody's multiple identities, people who they are. So, but obviously it's not always straightforward. It's not always the case. So we're hoping that anybody who wants to become an ally, first step is to educate themselves. So do not expect it to be taught or shown how to be an ally. It is very straightforward. As a starting point, you have a lot of report out there, whether it's government report or industry-led report that talk about gender discrimination, for example, in the workplace. So it's very important to go around and to do your own research and read those reports so that you can be, enlightened. You can know exactly what's going on. So you're not expected to learn everything, to know everything, but at least it shows how important, how committed you are to trying to learn and understand other people's experience, and how you can help people improve in the workplace positively, and obviously the organization you work for as well. So it is very, very important to start your learning, and there are many resources out there you can use to do so. Recognize your privilege. This is very important, and sometimes people controversial. Some people trying to take this to a different direction that is not intended to. Privilege, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have an easy life, or doesn't necessarily mean that everything is handed to you on a silver platter. What it means exactly is that there are some situations that you would never experience in your life because who you are, or because your cultural or economic background, or even your ethnicity. So there are those things. So it is very important when it comes to discrimination. Let's say in the UK, for example, there are chances that many white people might never experience discrimination as the way, for example, black women experience it. So the privilege there, it's not like you have an easy life. It's just like you never experience those things. And that can kind of affect, for example, the way people live their lives. And obviously, uh, for example, the way people perceive you as well. Some people who are kind of who carry prejudice, kind of bigoted people, can see a white person and react differently, and see a black person and react differently. But those are important things that to understand. So when it comes to men and women in certain situations, men have certain privileges that women don't have. So it is very important as men to recognize that in certain situations we have privileges over over women. So when you recognize those privileges, obviously, you understand the experience. You can understand the experiences what women go through, for example, navigating their multiple identities in the workplace, or in life in general. And obviously, some of those privileges can be invisible. It's not something that you see in front of you every morning, but those are, or sometimes you are not consciously thinking about those privileges, but they are there when you think about them. So being self-critical and honest with yourself can even help you see see that. Obviously, it is not an easy process, because obviously it might bring a bit of discomfort, you know. Uh, but also it is very important for people to be comfortable to talk about issue of gender, race, or discrimination and so on. So the most effective allies embrace the discomfort of talking openly about gender, race, and the list go on, and work hard to be familiar with appropriate language and terminology. Talking about these as an ally can be hard, but you don't always need to get everything right. So that's very important. You just need to be comfortable with listening, acknowledging your mistakes, and continuing to support these communities, for example. That's very important. And also recognize the diversity within these communities. So being an effective ally is about appreciating the diverse cultural and social value across these communities and demonstrating a willingness to listen to these diverse voices from these communities. So an ally's ability to recognize and understand this is crucial in ensuring that the diverse voices from your workplace, for example, are heard and acknowledged. So it is very, very important. Show up and be visible. When you work, it's very important, as Dr. Marachi alluded to earlier. Uh, Show up and be visible. Go attend events, seminars, conference where people are talking about gender issues, to trying to improve your understanding of these issues, to show your support around this issue, to promote women's voice, for example. It is very, very important, and organize some of these things in your workplace. You don't have to be a woman to lobby for events that involve women, for example. You don't, so these things you can also do these things as well. Mentor and sponsor. Again, Dr. Marachi talked about this. So mentor and sponsor, it's very, very important. Allies can play an important role in nurturing the career of talented colleagues through not only mentoring, but also by opening up access to networks and other development opportunity. So here, networks, Dr. Marachi is also very important. Thank you for mentioning it earlier. Help clarify career path. So it is very important as an ally to kind of be open about your career journey. That perhaps kind of inspire someone. And God knows I've been inspired since this morning. See all those brilliant speakers talking about, their field or specialism. So it is very important, people to talk about how you are, what how you manage to get to navigate the difficulties over and be where you are at the moment. Can you relate that story to someone else who perhaps be inspired from that and follow the same journey? So an ally will be able, can also do that. Don't be a bystander. Here, it is very important to show that an ally is someone who will call out inappropriate language, behavior, discrimination, whatever had happened, whether it's conscious or unconscious. So it is very important to be ready to call out those who behave inappropriately. So it may feel uncomfortable, but obviously an ally is someone who is involved in, someone who does things. It's not someone who just is stay in the sideline. It's someone who does things. So if you see someone behaving inappropriately, call them out. Lobby for change in the workplace. Obviously, when you see things that are not fair, that are not, that's not included, that kind of discriminate other people in the workplace, it is very important to ensure that whatever policy there is, whatever rule, whatever, to lobby for change, to ensure that it include, the benefit are embraced by everybody, not just by a few. So it's very important to lobby for change. Engage with the wider community. It's very important to be also obviously to understand what's going on at your local, at local level. That kind of help also what's going on at a local level, kind of help perhaps improve your relationship with your colleague in the workplace. So what are the benefits of allyship? As I said earlier, it is good for business. It is directly linked to business outcome, productivity, profitability, employee turnover, and obviously customer satisfaction. The more the employees are happy, the more it can, they can make the customer also happy as well. It benefits everyone. It leads to higher engagement, increased happiness, and greater sense of belonging. You feel safe. You have the opportunity for career progress, and obviously it reduces stress levels. It makes us better listeners. We learn how to listen rather than make assumption of other people. We learn how to listen to our colleagues, what they're saying, and even what they're not saying. We learn to listen to them when they say something, or even when they're not saying something. So it helps the workplace close the gap and move toward real equality and inclusion. So here, the role of allyship, I put a table. I'm not going to go through all of them, but it is very important that, to know what an ally, what the function of an ally. For example, I've just mentioned being able to listen. It's very, very, very important. Supporting the group you are allying by letting them speak for themselves whenever possible. You don't jump in and take over. No. That's not the way what allies do. An ally will help to lift others up by being their advocate. So also that's very, very important. How am I doing with time? And obviously an ally will share opportunities for the growth and development of others. That's also very, very important. Actions. So reflection, talk about people learning and reflect. It is very important that, in your workplace, you ask yourself and perhaps your colleague, what have you actually done to promote equality, diversity, and inclusion in your organization? Have you done something? Have you been involved in something? Have you put forward some ideas on how to make your workplace, inclusive? So please think about 3 things you would want to do to become a better ally. For example, as an example, the list I've shown there. Do you have equality and diversity networks in your organization? If yes, are you an active member? If no, can you help set up one? So these are things that there's a kind of free question that you may start asking yourself. Just here some list of resources that people can follow. I don't know if this slide can be shared. They can be shared, I believe. So that's my presentation. I hope it makes sense to you.
Thank you very much, Ali. That is a very, very inspiring and very educative and informative. Yeah, we all understand the impact of working together, but that's allyship now. I'm seeing it from a different perspective. I'm seeing it from a very different and clearer perspective. Thank you for that presentation. If there are a few things I picked, there's so much you actually talked about, but I was able to glean a bit on first, how to be an effective ally. We must have to educate ourselves. It is imperative that we educate ourselves. One, why do we need to educate ourselves? Because we are people that have migrated from one jurisdiction to a different jurisdiction. So that education will empower us to know what is actually obtainable in terms of law, in terms of literature, in terms of inclusion in this environment, and then to also know our rights, more importantly, and to enlighten us more, and also be able to help others. If I can just summarize, mention benefits, which I know is very important. He said it's beneficial to everyone in terms of learning from others. There are spoken and unspoken words, and it's only when we are calm and listen that we can even hear the unspoken words of people. So that is one of the benefits of allyship. Anybody can be our ally in the organization. We don't need to be in competition. People of different colors, be it white, be it from any culture, can be our ally. Thank you very much, Mr. Ali Abdoul, for that beautiful presentation.